Hello and welcome. Just want to say congratulations on taking the step to grab this video course. This is video number 1, the Introduction to Podcast Marketing. So what I want to do now is just to give you a quick overview of what's in this video course so you know exactly what to expect. And then once you know that, you'll be able to implement everything faster. So this, of course, is video number 1. Video number 2 is what's in a podcast. So basically, we want to make sure that you plan a successful podcast. And a successful podcast is a podcast that can engage the listener. The more you engage and the more your engagement increases, the higher the stick rate, meaning the longer the person stays listening to your podcast. And the more invested they become, the more likely they are likely going to buy your products or take some sort of action that you tell them to in the end. Now, writing an intro and outro actually can help your podcast. So instead of just having a podcast where you start talking about the content right away, you want to make sure that you have an intro that introduces you, that gets people into the mindset of, hey, okay, put everything down, get ready to rock and roll and learn a lot of content. And then talk about you a little bit, not really talk about you, but in the sense of, hey, so-and-so is the expert, stay tuned, blah, blah, blah. So basically introduces you to the audience and gets them all excited. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then, of course, outro is the ending, the call to action. So even at the end of your podcast, you could have a specific call to action, but the outro would be more of a general thing like, hey, visit my site, share it with your friends, and things like that. Now, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly what to write step by step, word by word, so you can simply copy and paste this. Video number 4 is we're going to hire a voiceover artist for the intro and outro. Now, the reason why we want to do that is because subconsciously, this can actually help you. Subconsciously, if somebody else introduces you, like a professional voiceover artist introduces you, and then you jump right in, and then the outro is when they tell people to take action and so forth, that can actually help your podcast. So more on that later. Video number 5 is microphone and software editing tools. I'm going to show you exactly what microphones to use so you can have a high quality podcast, because unfortunately people do judge a book by its cover. So that in this case, they are going to judge you by your audio quality. Now, if your content is really, really good, most likely people are going to stay till the end. But it's going to be hard if your quality is not good. So you want to make sure that your quality of your audio is really, really good. And that brings us to video number 6. We're going to talk about how to record your podcast, how to create soundproof environments, because environment is actually crucial to creating a good, high quality audio. Video number 7, we're going to edit your main podcast yourself. So I'm going to show you how to edit using editing tools and free software editing tools. Video number 8, podcast hosting sites and sites to use. So once you get your file, then what? Okay, so from that point, we're going to upload it to a podcast hosting site, which will then allow us to get the RSS feed. So I'm going to show you sites to use, different sites you can use, how to create a podcast, upload the files to the podcast hosting, get your RSS feed, and then take that RSS feed and submit it to iTunes, which then will help you get some traffic once you are approved. So this is basically how it all works. Basically, you're going to plan and record a high converting, high engagement podcast. From that point, you're going to set up your microphone, your software tools, and edit your podcast. You're going to record your podcast and edit everything like that. You're going to upload to podcast hosting. You're going to generate the RSS feed, and you're going to submit it to iTunes. Now, while this does have a lot of technical stuff in it, if you can follow me step by step, then you should really have no problem at all. So what I recommend that you do is watch it and follow along so that you're able to actually take action while you do it. So that way you'll actually feel like you're succeeding along the way, because I guarantee you if you watch it and you don't take action, then this is all just nothing. It's just wisdom. It's just knowledge that has not been put into place. So you want to make sure you put all of it into action and start getting yourself some branding and traffic. So what do you need to get started? Well, you're going to need to have audio files. Now, obviously, I'm going to show you how to do all of that, but audio files that are supported by iTunes, and we're going to submit it to iTunes. So .mp3, which is what we're going to be using, .move, .mp4, and .m4v. So these are mainly iTunes compatible. So if you submit it to somewhere else besides iTunes, that might change. But for the most part, if you stick with MP3 files, that's pretty much standard throughout the globe. You're obviously going to need an iTunes software. So if you don't have it, go ahead and go to Google, type in iTunes, and you'll be able to download it. And also you'll need to have an iTunes account. Obviously you won't be able to submit anything unless you have an iTunes account. You also want to have your cover art file that is standard and recommended by iTunes, which is 1400 by 1400 pixels, JPEG, or PNG. Now, I'm not really going to show you how to create one of these art files, but you can hire somebody to create a graphic for you if you want to, or you can do it yourself. So I'm giving you the standards of what you need. But once you've gathered all of that, then you can easily just post it all to the podcast hosting site. You're also going to need some money to hire a voiceover artist. I'm going to show you exactly sites that you can go to hire voiceover artists for low costs. You're also going to need some money to get a soundtrack, and this is what helps create an environment, whether it's fun, whether it's serious, and things like that. Soundtrack, as you know, if you're watching a movie or a video, if you put some creepy sound in there, it's going to sound creepy. If you take the same clip and put something happy, then even if it is scary, it's not going to be scary. So soundtracks are important. That's part of the whole podcast blueprint. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started and jump right in to talk about how to plan your podcast in video number 2.